am excited to talk about your latest venture, um,
Yes.
which is because we're in the deep quarantine state right
Yeah, we
now,
still are.
and you've had something to really put your time into as of late.
Yes.
Your
As of March.
As of March,
Yeah,
which was coincidentally lined up with
the
the
quarantine.
virus.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm very happy about that. You were the first one I told the idea
I remember.
about. So, did you see it and you were like, oh wow, she actually did
No,
it?
I mean it's always cool. All right, so we're talking about Hello Black Mexican,
Yes.
animated web series
Yes.
is its current state. Are you looking at your level still?
No.
All right, we're good. Um, okay, so yeah, we had coffee in the before times, and you had told me about. I think you're you hadn't started it
I
yet.
hadn't, no. I think I had like a little rough cut. I was telling you, like, okay, this is maybe what I'm trying to do
Yeah.
now. And then, but yeah, I didn't think it was gonna. I mean, we're already, I think, 6 months in. So I'm very
Yeah.
surprised that I've kept it up for that
No,
long.
I'm a huge fan of people doing stuff they say they're gonna do, and being consistent with it for sure. Like you just
Yeah,
released episode 12 like
I did.
yesterday or the
Yeah.
night before.
Uh huh.
Was it
It
last
was
night?
yesterday, I
Okay.
think. Wait, was it yesterday? Wait, what day is it today? It was on Sunday, so it was the
Okay.
day before yesterday.
Gotcha. Yeah. So talk to us. Talk about can we what can we? Well, let's start with because I mean some of this I know because we already talked about it, but what and I mean the classic question: what inspired the
The
yeah
cartoon.
why
Um,
the story in general?
so the story is inspired or loosely inspired by my life. It's hard being like a mix because you don't feel like you belong anywhere. I grew up in a city where it was really only Hispanics. There's absolutely no black. There's a few Armenian, a few Chinese, but black was rare. Like you never seen it. And so, growing up, that's how I was in school. I was like the only black girl in elementary, middle school, high school. There was like maybe two more black people,
Mm-hmm.
but even then, it was already weird that I was like the only black person. And then on top of that, speaking Spanish was kind of just like a fish out of water. Like people
Yeah.
didn't expect me to. And I just went through a lot of stuff that I laugh about now. That I was like, you know what, this would make an amazing series. Like there's not a like a series out there that's
Mm-hmm.
like of Afro Latinas or people of mixed race yet. So I was like, I want to come out, tell my story,
Yeah.
and share it because it's like I think it's hilarious. Like now when I look back at it, I'm like, wow. Like maybe I was struggling back then, but it's definitely like funny now. And yeah,
Yeah, because the cartoon itself, I don't know what the extent or what you're like if you have seasons planned now that you're got it rolling or
uh-huh.
not, but regardless, as of right now, the main story is about the little girl, which like you said
Hmm.
is loosely based on you, which I mean it is you
Yeah.
in the story, but yeah, she goes through the stages of discovering that she's black and not
Yeah.
actually like her mom and her brother. So that is yours. That yeah, you went through
That's my
that.
story.
That's your
Yeah.
story.
That was definitely um it's just so weird. I guess I was
Yeah.
very naive. I was very young. Like I thought I was white, honestly. I didn't even know I was like a black girl. And then
Right.
it's like, just cuz the people you're surrounded with, you think you're one of them. Or not one of them specifically, but you don't think you're different, but other people are seeing you different.
Or you don't think it
I
matters.
don't, yeah. And
Yeah.
then, because that too, my mom never was the one to, like, she never sat me down and was like, honey, you're black and you need to be careful because blah, blah, blah. Like, never.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she never made me feel like I was different. My brother either. So I never thought I was different, which it's not a bad thing to be different, and it's really just like more pigment of color, so it's not
Sure.
really like, but you are treated different in society, so to an extent, you are different. Well,
I
yeah.
mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to unpack for sure.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about you and how growing up was with. Okay, because I like to think about because this is. I mean, I'm sure I don't know how many people go through a version of this, but like I know I've gone through not to that extent, but
Yeah.
like there's a version that you see in yourself that you're like, okay, in my brain I think like this and I act like this and I see
Yeah.
myself like this, but then the world perceives you in a different
That's a
way,
different
and
way.
you try to like find a way to find that balance so that where you're
Yeah.
giving out something that's
Find that
expected, like
medium.
it's a weird.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that like?
Well,
Yeah.
up to like the age of 10, like once I was 10, that's when I was like, okay, like I'm legit a black person, So I wanted to get in touch with like my black side. I wanted to know, like, okay, who are famous people that are black? Who are some famous women that are black? And just because my mom did raise me by herself, so I did meet my dad, and I would see my dad once in a while, but he wasn't like there all the time for me to be like, oh, okay, I'm like you, you're like me, it's fine. Like it was more so like, okay, I'm here by myself. And for the Mexican part of it, I didn't have to try to be like Mexican. I was just legit full on Mexican.
Yeah.
I didn't learn English until I was 5. Like I was just, full on Mexican. But then after, I don't think I ever really tried to tap into like the black side as much, just because I wanted to fit in so bad with like this whole,
Yeah.
you know, like that the whole community is Hispanic. And I remember when I was younger, my dad, he's Dominican, he's still black, but he wouldn't talk down on other black people, but certain actions that black people do, like black people, we have like a huge like stereotype around us, like, oh, they steal, like negative stuff.
Yeah.
So my dad would really try to be like, oh, you're not black, like you're this, and then it'd make me kind of feel like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be like black, or maybe how do I not act black when I am black? So it was just awkward. I wouldn't really like tap into that world of being black, but I did look up artists, and like that's when I got into like rapping a little bit. And the first artist was actually Eminem, who is not black, but I was just like, oh, he's a fish out of water in the rap game.
Yeah.
I'm a fish out of water here in my community, so I just felt like it was cool.
Yeah, because in the show you do the quick Google search
Yeah.
and the artist that you actually find in the
It's
show
Snoop
is Snoop
Dogg.
Dogg. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Spoiler, sorry.
I definitely, remember that, thinking like, okay, he has the same hair as me, he has the same skin tone as me, and I mean, black people created like hip hop, so I was very proud of that, but I felt like I didn't belong there still, and I felt like I didn't belong in my
Right.
community.
Yeah.
So I think slowly, like I'm still learning like about black culture. Like my first black friend was literally when I got to college. I didn't have any black friends,
Okay.
like at all. Like, you know how you have those like white friends and Hispanic friends that are like, oh, I'm not racist, my friend's black. Like I was that friend to them.
You were the friend that made them not racist.
Pretty much. Like they'll be like, oh, well, I'm not racist because my friend Ehcrama is black, and I'll be like, hey, hi, that's me. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Okay. Because I guess like what I'm trying to, because you've talked before about like, and you hint at moments in the show. Because what age were you when you found out you were black?
I was like I was in fourth grade, so
Fourth
I'm
grade.
pretty sure I was 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and I wasn't like disappointed. I think I was more so happy to be different. I just remember coming home because in the episode, it's episode 2, I believe, or 3, where I find out I'm black on stage because I'm putting white foundation.
Yeah.
Another spoiler alert. I'm putting white foundation on my skin, and I remember I went home and I asked my mom, like, why don't I look like you or my brother? And she was just like, oh, well, because you look like your dad. And then I just remember thinking, like, wow, I really don't look, I didn't get anything from you. Like, I got your height and your short fingers. Like, I didn't get your hair. I didn't get. So, a lot of the times, like, after I had found out, I was just thinking, like, wow, I don't have straight hair. I don't have lighter skin. And I would just think, like, I wonder if people would treat me nicer. Because, well, one thing, I never got bullied, because I was darker. I was never told, like, oh, you can't hang out with us because you're black. Like, that never happened. But I think that I would think, like, oh, maybe if I was light skinned, I would be, like, pretty, or people would, I don't know. I just started, like, putting those thoughts in my head, like, as soon as I had found out. And I think they just kept going even through middle school a little bit, just because I'm not surrounded by anyone who looked like me.